Hi, I'm Laura Custo, and this is Light the Way, where spirituality meets practicality. Each week, I give you the message from the moon, and I show you how to use it to plan your life and achieve your goals. Integrating spirituality really can be easy, and it is so much better than any other goal setting system out there. It's less stressful and less work, it's really just all flow. All right, let's dig in. So, this is the week of Friday, March 7th through Friday, the 14th, 2025. And here is the general storyline and message from the moon this week. Friday the 7th, all the way through about Tuesday the 11th, or 12th rather, we are in the energy of this Gemini first quarter. And so the moon is saying to you, show me what you want. Get out there, do something, commit to your dreams, or stop something. Stop something if it's not what you want, but get out there and do something. Show me what you want, okay? It's not listening now, it wants to see some action. And then we get into the energy of the full moon eclipse, which is happening on Friday the 14th in Virgo. Okay, so let's dig in. So, yes, Friday the 7th, on into the weekend, we've got this Gemini first quarter energy. Now, I'm going to give you the dates here that you want to keep in mind. So, we had the intentions that you set last in Gemini on the last Gemini new moon are what you are revisiting here. So, you want to look for themes back towards this date. Now, that date is June 6th, 2024. So if you kept a new moon journal or moon journal, any journal, and you wrote something down on June 6th, 2024, go look at it. What intentions did you set? If you didn't consciously write intentions, go ahead and just look around, see what you put in your calendar, see what meetings you had, look at emails that you sent, look what's in your photos and your camera roll. What you're really trying to pull out is what was my mood? What was my self-talk? Okay, your self-talk. The moon's listening to that, and that's what it's doing on the new moon is it's listening. It's the new moon is tell me what you want. Right now here we're at show me what you want. So what you're going to do then is you're going to kind of get a sense for, okay, what did I set in motion, and then look around, what's happening, what is sort of available to you to make the next move. And you may put some pieces together, right? Like, oh, this is starting to gain some momentum and I don't actually want this. And wow, I can kind of see how maybe I had some negative self-talk and I put this into motion. Or, maybe things are moving along and there's something you want to propel forward. So go ahead and take that action, okay? Now, if you've got something big that you're brewing, something big that you're planning, the next full moon in Gemini is a date that you could target for that. It's another 9 months ahead. It's in December of this year, December 4th, 2025. So kind of get that on your radar and think about that. But really, again, we want to take a look as you look deeper, you want to look and see what area of your life Gemini oversees. So you can look in your chart if you're familiar with reading your chart to do that. Or you can simply come and join Moon Chat. So you go to my website, lauracusto.com, and every single moon phase, you're going to get an email that tells you what area of your life is being activated and supported by this particular moon phase. So with Gemini, this Gemini first quarter, for example, if it was activating your house of career, you'd get an email letting you know that. So focus in on your career. It also gives you these dates. There's also a beautiful journal that you can use to keep track of all of this as your story unfolds. So head on over there, give it a try. All right. Also, that first quarter happened on Thursday the 6th. Friday the 7th is how we're starting this update this week. So this energy is active, but also on Friday the 7th, we have Sun making a trine to Mars. And I talked about this last week because it is probably the best aspect I can think of to have happen on a first quarter moon. Sun trine Mars is a harmonious aspect. It's a trine, and it means the sun, our sense of self, is working harmoniously, really effortlessly with our ability to do things, to get things done, okay? And Mars on top of it all is Mars is now moving forward again. It's no longer retrograde. It's moved forward for the last couple of weeks. And so we should be able to move things forward. So that's active on Friday. I think that the best time, seriously, to use this energy and take action would be Friday the 7th, if you're able. But again, it will stay active on into the start of the next week. Okay, then Tuesday, we have Tuesday the 12th is the last day that this first quarter energy is active. I'm sorry, rather, it's Tuesday the 11th. And on this day, we have Mercury joining up with Venus. Now, Venus turned retrograde last week on March 1st. We talked about that last week. So, relative to us on Earth, it's moving backwards in the sky. And Mercury is moving forward. It is not retrograde right now. And so, what's happening is they're basically going to just pass in the sky. But they have this moment where they meet up and their energies merge. And so, the merging of this energy, and it's just really a blip on the radar. These planets move so fast. This is only going to be active this one day. But it's the merging of Mercury, our thinking and our communication, with Venus, which is what we take pleasure in, femininity. It's a lot of female energies, and it's also love. And so it could be a loving relationship. It could be a relationship with a female. It could also just be something you take pleasure in. So you may feel yourself drawn to some thinking and analysis about any of those themes on Tuesday. And so just be aware of that. If it comes up, this energy is happening. It's in the collective, and you're being drawn to it for a reason. So allow yourself that moment to think and analyze and ponder. There's so much going on in our world right now. 2025 is a massive year. I really am passionate about staying out of any of the sort of collective 3D drama that is going on. I will say though, what initially kind of amped up my interest in astrology was during COVID, when things became very uncertain. And what astrology did for me was it helped me realize on a spiritual level, what was going on. And honestly, that brought me so much comfort. So much comfort. You have no idea. That's really what started to amplify and accelerate my interest in learning about astrology. And so what I can say, and what I will say, is that what we are experiencing is astrologically supported, and we really, really are headed all the time in the way that we need to go. And truly, the big theme this year is for a lot of dismantling, a lot of exposure of truth. Transparency is absolutely huge. And truly, though, also the direction of travel, because we're moving into this age of Aquarius, out of the age of Capricorn. I'm sorry, the age of Pisces. But it's moving towards power to the people. It's moving towards decentralization, and truly having that Aquarian concern for the collective and concern for all in mind. That is where we are headed. I know it's painful and it's very hard, but just stay, if you can stay kind of in that spiritual zone and just in your own inner world. And I just say, always do my best and have positive intent, and things will work out. So I hope that's a helpful little tangent there. All right, then we move into Wednesday, the 12th, and we start to get into the energy of the full moon. And on Wednesday, we have the Sun and Saturn coming together. So what that means is, because the full moon's just a couple days later, we're going to have Saturn in the mix of this full moon. What I mean by that is, so like imagine a point, and this is the point where the Sun and the Saturn come together. Now, Saturn doesn't move very fast. The Sun moves about a degree a day. And so 2 days after they meet up, the Sun's going to have moved just a couple degrees. Okay, so they're still really close. It's still considered an active conjunction. And at a full moon, if this is where the Sun and Saturn are, the moon is literally exactly opposite it. So the Saturn is going to be directly opposed this full moon eclipse that we're having. And I'll get into that here in a minute. Now, having Saturn in the mix of a full moon is very different than what we had last month, which is where we had Uranus, the planet of unexpected surprises and just uncertainty, right? Kind of sudden change, sudden breakthroughs. Saturn is quite different, even opposite in many ways. It brings this sense of responsibility and structure to situations. So I'll get into that here in a second. But on Wednesday the 13th, with the Sun meeting up with Saturn, we have this merging of our sense of self with Saturn, which is responsibility. So you could feel drawn on the 13th, after you've had this sort of introspection, right, with Mercury, Venus, being drawn to like examining your sense of responsibility or the things that you are responsible for, or it also is related to your authority. It's related to structures in your life. But Saturn in Pisces, because Piscean energy It's this water element that is mutable, changeable. I often think of Pisces energy as like overland flooding. It does not have boundaries, but Saturn, of course, has boundaries. So how does Saturn act in Pisces? Well, it's been said that Saturn can then dissolve things in Pisces. That's what it does. It, again, if it's about structure and Pisces is about this like no boundaries, well, Saturn's just going to like, kind of take the structure away, so to speak. So that could be another thing that you feel on Wednesday is, perhaps, what seems to be slipping away. And maybe it could be something with a relationship, a romantic relationship, or a female relationship. Again, going back to the previous day where we've got this merging of Venus and Mercury and that thinking and analysis around Venusian themes. So, like I would say, just roll with that, right? See what comes up for you. Then we get to our full moon eclipse that is happening just past midnight on Friday the 14th, Mountain Standard Time. Now, the moon is in Virgo, and it's conjunct the south node at about 24 degrees Virgo. And that's what eclipses mean. It's when the new moons and the full moons happen near the moon's nodes, the nodes of the moon. And so that's what they are physically. But what do they represent? What they represent are really big turning points. It's sort of amplifying, turning the volume up 100 or 1,000 times on what a new moon means and what a full moon means. And so they can bring about significant change, significant realizations, significant turning points. Now, with the moon being with the south node representing what we are moving away from or meant to let go of, we also then have this energy of release and letting go at this full moon. To top it off, we also have that Saturn in Pisces, right? The dissolving, okay? So I think that's another theme that as we are observing, right? Because again, new moon is about telling the moon what you want. First quarter, showing the moon. And on the full moon, finally, the moon is showing you. It is a time to observe, okay? It's not a time to get out there and make a bunch of changes. Things happen. Be present. Observe. Stay grounded as much as you can. But be present. Live your life. Show up as yourself and your authentic self. Okay, now I want to give you the dates that lead up to this full moon. So the new moon, when you would have told the moon what you wanted for this Virgo full moon, was back on September 14th, 2023. Okay? Look in your journals, look in calendars, all the places I was talking about earlier with the Gemini First Quarter. Same thing, okay? What was your self-talk? What did you set into motion? And then the first quarter, when you would have shown the moon what you wanted, was June 13th, 2024. Okay? So some dates for you to go looking. But really, again, observe what's playing out now. What's culminating? What are you going through? And yes, what needs to be released because of, that Saturn and as well the South Node. Now, the objective here, as always, and I like to say, is to figure out how to use this energy. An astrologer that I love and have followed for many years back in my uncertain COVID days is Pam Gregory. She's absolutely brilliant. But she just the other day was saying, and she uses this analogy a lot, that the astrology is like music playing, and the music is gonna play. The key is how is it going to play out in your life? Because when you're aware of the song and you understand the music that's coming, you can work with it. And that's what I do here. I'm sharing the song with you that is coming, and then it's up to you how you're going to play it out, or maybe how are you going to dance to it, let's say, in your life. So this Saturn element with the full moon, it could bring you down. Saturn again is this kind of like voice of reason, voice of authority. It's not happy, but Saturn is very much like it's been said you need to work your Saturn. You need to do the work so that you can grow and you can have these realizations and you can grow as a person and then reap the rewards. Okay. So, Saturn, it can bring you down. It can make you frustrated. It's going to call you to potentially look at something, to be responsible, or it could be dissolving something in your life and, really working with that South Node energy. So, you can get frustrated, you can get upset, or you can look at it as an opportunity to embrace the idea that ultimately everything is happening for you, and get curious. I wonder what that is. I wonder where this will lead. This seems pretty unpleasant here in the moment, but I'm going to choose to take a deep breath and go through it and believe that there's a reason for it. So take it in stride, one step at a time. Again, this is in this Virgo area of life. What area does Virgo represent for you? The energy can potentially impact any area of life, but it is supporting one key area of your life. And again, Moon Chat will tell you that. Now, as we go through this, there are 48 unique touch points each year because we have the 4 moon phases and they go through all 12 zodiac signs. And so 12 times 4 is 48. And so there's an optimal time every year for you to plant a seed, set an intention in every area of life, to take action, to move it along, to see the culmination like we are here on this full moon, and to then harvest and clear the garden and create space for that next new iteration of growth in that area of life. And so, yeah, that's the magic of Moon Chat. Now, I want to wrap up here a little bit. I want to share how this full moon is playing out in my life, because as I was prepping for this just yesterday, and I'm recording this on March 5th, so we are about a week and a couple days ahead of this full moon. But as I was putting the pieces together, I looked at how this story for this Virgo full moon was playing out in my life, and I thought it was such a great example that I wanted to share it here with you. So as I looked back on September 2023 and that new moon that seeded this one, my intentions were around how I show up as an entrepreneur and truly having clarity for what do I do. And I said a lot of things like, I show up in the world as an entrepreneur. I have clarity on what I do. People recognize me as an entrepreneur, not as anything else. I've had, career before that, corporate, etc. So that's where I was at in September 2023. Then in June of 2024, right? That was that new moon, the first quarter action taking point. And I just wrote one sentence down. This is how simple some of this can be. Even me, I've been practicing this for many years. I wrote down one sentence at the first quarter, what I committed to. And what I did was I committed to working with my current business coach. I signed up and I committed to working with her. I told the universe, I told it what I wanted on the new moon, and then I showed it by taking that action on the first quarter. And now on this full moon, and this is what's so funny, is for the last month or so, my website, I've been working on like the full version of my website. And it has been so close to launching. And I think I have said over 1,000 times, like any day now, it'll be tomorrow, the next day. And it just hasn't been happening. But I noticed that the full moon is next week and it's falling in the same area of life. And I can tell you even now on March 5th, this website will be live when you watch this video. It literally is so funny how little we have left. And I'm actually working the Saturn. There's a couple of small little details that do need to just be buttoned up in order for it to be fully functional for the public. So that I think is just such a great example. And I see these in my life every single month, so this magic of Moon Chat, and it's not just goal setting, but it's consciously co-creating with the universe. It's a spiritual practice along with living your life and being sort of a driven person and accomplishment minded. And you not only just touch it's not like you touch random areas of your life. You're literally thoroughly touching every single area of your life every single year. And so I just think it's the most amazing thing. All right, so that is a wrap for this week. Again, we started out with some really supportive energy from Mars and the Sun on Friday. So get out there, commit to your dreams, take action on that Gemini first quarter. And then we move into this full moon eclipse happening on Friday the 14th with that energy of Saturn. And, again, powerful culmination point, definitely overlaid with a lot of release energy. And of course, if I think about this again, back to my example of the website rollout, what I'll be releasing now is this months of working in this certain way. It's in my 10th house of career. I've been working very focused on the details, which is also very Virgo's details of the website. And now it's going to be gone. And I get to release, I'm actually happy about this, get to release working on that. But now I have to pivot to working to something else. And pivots are transitions, right? And that takes a little energy and thought, of course. So Okay. So I hope that example from my own life helps you see the magic of Moon Chat. It's such an amazing way to set goals and simultaneously co create with the universe. I'm really so grateful to have uncovered it in my studies, and I absolutely love sharing all of this magic with all of you. All right, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, I would love it if you would subscribe and leave a comment or a review. And if something really resonated with you and you think it would help someone else, please share it with them. All right, I'll see you next week for our next moon phase, which will be a last quarter in Capricorn.